On April 29, 1981, 84-year-old Reverend Maurice Dametz went on a trip with a friend, David McSherry, to find topaz, near the Topaz Point picnic area, Devil's Head, Colorado, in the Pike National Forest. He had a keen interest in gems and minerals, and was a member of the American Federation of Mineral Societies and Flatiron's Gem and Mineral Club. The Reverend was also an author, writing numerous articles in leading religious periodicals. Maurice had arthritis and a blood disorder. He often went rock hunting with a friend, who would assist him in moving around to his dig sites, as he could not walk well on his own. Much of the bedrock within Pike National Forest is made up of the coarse, pink to orange Pikes Peak granite. Maurice was believed to be wearing a white baseball cap, a maroon plaid flannel shirt, brown ankle-high work boots, and blue overalls at the time of his disappearance. Since Maurice was in poor health, he needed help from David to get to his digging spot. David left Maurice and found his own spot to dig about 50 yards away. After about 2 hours of digging at around 3 p.m., David walked over to Maurice to let him know that it was time to drive home. David then returned to his own pit to clean up the tools and collect the stones. When he walked back to Maurice's spot only 15 minutes later, Maurice was gone. There was also no sign of his tools which he had been using to dig holes. Surprised that Maurice could make it up the hill on his own, he checked back at their car. He waited and honked the horn a few times, but there was no response. Maurice was nowhere to be found. The site where Maurice was last seen was not disturbed, other than the small pit he was digging to find the topaz. There were no signs of a struggle in the dirt, and no blood was present, indicating that the Reverend had not been attacked by a wild animal. David flagged down a motorist on Rampart Range Road. By around 11 p.m. that night, the Douglas County Sheriff had been notified and search and rescue teams were at the scene. For the following 5 days, the area was searched thoroughly by grid patterns with no sign of Maurice. The search dogs could not even pick up a scent. He had vanished. Maurice's wife wrote to Governor Richard Lamb asking for further assistance in finding him, saying that she believed that Maurice may have met foul play or been carried out of the area. She requested a more extensive investigation of his disappearance. What happened to Maurice? There was no sign of a struggle, no blood and no cries for help, which suggests he was not abducted or killed by a wild animal. His tools went missing with him. Given his medical condition, he could not have possibly made it out by himself. He may have wandered off looking for a better dig site, or, knowing he was at the end of his life, may have gone off into the forest to spend his final moments in nature. Some speculate that Maurice was never in the area that day, but the story was fabricated by David to cover up his murder-assisted suicide. If Maurice was murdered by his friend David, what would have been the motive? Maurice was a devout Christian and former pastor, so a suicide seems unlikely. Maurice was officially declared dead in 1990 after being missing for 9 years. 39 years later, his case remains unsolved.